Welcome to my online painting channel. What I'm trying to do is bring the classroom environment, so as much as the social interaction that you would get in a classroom environment, I'm trying to bring that to you at home. It's aimed at the beginners to the intermediate painter. I cover all sorts of genre, so you will expect to do a landscape, some flowers, maybe a portrait, some animals, all sorts of different things. So it's not just all about skies or all about grasses. I'm also not aiming to make you a clone of me. I want you to learn the watercolor techniques so that you are confident enough to go outside or sit at home or paint from wherever you want to paint, and to produce your own creative work of arts. What makes me different to other online courses? The first thing is that I don't cut anything out. So you won't suddenly see the bird's eyes all painted. You will see what I do in real time. So there won't be anything that's left out. You'll see it. And sometimes it might get a bit boring and you think, oh well, I know how to do that. Well, then that's up to you to fast forward. And that's one of the benefits of watching something online. So in this painting, once again, there are a lot of techniques used here. I do like the way that I haven't come all the way to the edge of the painting. There's a lot of negative painting going on. If you're not sure what negative painting is, it might be an idea to join my online classes. There's different forms of salt being added at different wetnesses. And the painting arose because somebody sent me an email and said, could we have a class, or it was an online class, where we learn to paint feathers in detail. So that's another reason that I'm different to other people that you see on YouTube. I'm open to you sending me an email saying, can we do, or I don't know how to do, because if you don't know how to do it, it's more than likely that other people don't as well. A popular painting that we did online was Mama Bear and Baby Bear. Again, it was a limited palette, so the restricted number of colours, and I often restrict my colours to 3 or 4, very rarely go over that. And the bear, the brown of the bear, is made up from the same colours that are in the rest of the painting, so in the background and the foreground. Because really that's what brown is. By using red, yellow and blue in different proportions, you can make a brown. The whole painting was done wet and wet, so the background was done wet and wet using a square brush, and the baby bear and the mother bear were done wet and wet when the background was dry. I really like doing that one. This is one of the paintings that we've done, and I call it Flower Power. It's a painting of an amaryllis and some daisies, and it was a lot to do with composition, so there were some compositional things that we learnt and talked about, like leaving a little white edge along the edge of items, allowing items within the painting to fall over the border, and I haven't allowed the background to come all the way down to the bottom. So by having this raggedy coloured background against the white paper, I'm suggesting some sort of grass. The painting was done with a limited colour scheme, and I seem to remember there were only 3 colours in it, which looking at the painting you'll find hard to believe. The background was done all wet and wet, and the flowers were done separately. Guineas. Coming from South Africa, I have a thing for Guinea Fowl, and I just think they're so quirky and so adorable. So I gave people some photos, which are all downloadable from my website, so all the resources are there for you to download. If you're not happy about drawing, there's even a tracing for you to download. So I gave them some ideas and then said, right, I want you to make your guinea fowls quirky. How do we do that? So in my head, the first thing I did was give them long toenails, play with their beaks, give them really long eyelashes and play with their eyes. I've done a bit of stenciling on their backs to represent their spotted feathers. So when we're painting, there are those artists who paint realistically. However, I think that if you're going to paint photorealistically, you might as well print off the photograph and put it on your wall. Whereas this way, by making something quirky, as I say, you are putting something of yourself into the guinea fowl. You're starting to tell a story. He is totally not interested. They're still having a natter. And those two, well, those are the two naughty twins. Once again, limited palette. Lots of splashing going on there, creating water highways and allowing the paint to run through. The background was done in a couple of layers so that you've got wet on dry, you've got soft edges and hard edges. All those sort of techniques you'll learn on my online courses. And this is probably about as realistic as I will get, even if when I'm painting animals. Lots going on here. It is more realistic. We've got the shape of the boat, you know, we've got quite a lot of structure in the building. Lots of wet glazes, certainly wet glazes in the rocks. We've got some splatter going on, we've got wet on dry. But one of the aims in this painting was the use of white watercolour and black watercolour. Now I consider myself a purist and I do not like to use white and black. However, they do have their places. It's knowing how to use them. There's black in there, there's black in there, and it's mixing them with other colours and never using them on their own. Not to say that we don't do picture box painting, as I call it. That is all part of and being able to use the watercolour techniques. So if I show you a technique in a particular way, for instance in this picture using the black and the white as in the rocks, it's then up to you to go and interpret that into your own painting. Last but not least, the Reluctant Elephant Lieutenant. A lot more layers on there, a lot more gone into it, many hours of work. It was composed using 3 or 4 different photos, and I thought I'd show it to you just as a sort of thing that I do if I was painting for an exhibition or for myself or for a commission. Again, I'm just going to talk about techniques. You heard me saying that there was some masking fluid still on their trunks. There is actually some wax on here as well, which is used as a mask. Lots of washes on the background, and that's how I get this transition from pink to purple. Splatter, there's salt, negative painting, there's all sorts. There's darks against lights, all sorts of thought going on. But what I wanted to say is, while I'm painting, I'm also telling myself a story all the time. So every painting becomes individual and becomes particular to me. And I encourage you to do the same thing. So Reluctant Elephant Lieutenant, he is supposed to be the big boss. He doesn't really want to be the big boss, and the rest of his herd is all doing their own thing. So I thought that was quite an apt title for the painting, because yeah, he's supposed to be big boss, but he isn't, because so he's not making any effort to keep the rest of the herd in check. Have a look at my website, at my profile, and you'll see more paintings that I've done. And feel free to give me a call, either by mobile or drop me an email. And I hope to see some of you on my online courses.